I seem to be glitching here. Gil, thanks for coming in. Much appreciated. Just walking around the food forest seeing what things I can find. I'm currently having some issues with my conductivity, which is interesting because I haven't had any issues at all over here. I'm on loquats blooming. Got a nice little crab spider. Got these areas as prepared as I can for fall to plant in. I'll be a little more. I've cleared out a whole lot of the weeding. So, like I said, still got some more to go, but I've gotten a lot of it. And I've got a whole bucket of fish fertilizer for this season. Waiting on my nanners. As soon as I start to see ones turning yellow, I'll pick the whole thing. The reason I do that is if I don't, other things will find those bananas and eat them. And it won't take them long. Squirrels, rats, raccoons, won't take them long at all. Looks like my cotton's getting ready to bloom. And I'm really surprised this kale is still alive. As a general rule, kale dies mid-July. This one, in the shade, this tree, only getting morning sun, it's still alive. Of course, the cat has got to follow me around. Got a good bed of okra. It's running slower than I wanted it to, but that's okay. Gotta really watch out for this one. Not poisonous per se, but it hurt. Nobody wants a spider on them in the dark. Ew. Got me some sweet potatoes going. I can make my slips. I need to get on that. I need to start those slips so that they're ready in a month. Because in a month, it's planting season. There goes the stupid cat. Cat's got to be the cat. He's showing off. These guys bloomed real heavy last night. Now, a lot of times they'll open a second and sometimes even a third night. But that didn't happen. They did not open, which means they got enough insect activity that they pollinated. And they did have a lot of insects. A lot of insects hitting them up. Into the food forest. Now, this tree is ready to go. The short-lived perennial bean tree from India. The moment its name is slipping my mind. Over this way, I've got pears and mangoes. I clear the path back out again. I got a decent amount of mangoes this year. Actually really decent amount of mangoes this year. Very happy with it, considering it took 7 years for the mango tree to finally get itself in order. I'm very happy with the mangoes I got. I had enough mangoes today to make a mango cobbler, something I've been wanting to make for a little while. Good little while. That's my world's best mulberry. And it's got mulberries on it. And a froggy. Look at the froggy. That's cool. Oh. I saw a ripe fruit earlier. Yep, there's a ripe mulberry. And it's got a decent amount of mulberries. I'll have a decent fall harvest off of this tree. I've been working on taking my propagation area, which was never meant to permanently be over here. I have a cloth to help keep it from sunburning. I've been moving all of that because I don't really want it here. It was just that's where it needed to go at the time. So I've started that particular project, and it's going to be underneath my big red mulberry tree because this thing's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. I've got me some landscaper's cloth that I can down over this area to keep it under control. And I've already started. Look at all the mulberry clones that I got going here. It's a real decent amount. 3 different varieties of mulberries. And even this big mulberry here, it's got fruit on it. Now the mulberry out front, that one, it's a different type of genetic makeup. And it behaves different. And it's dropping its leaves like it's fall. Just started dropping them. I don't know if it's going to put more on because it did that last year. It dropped its leaves real early and then put on new leaves and put out a fall harvest. Now this one here, I saw fruit on it earlier. Yep, there's some young mulberries. It won't be super heavy production, but I will get a harvest off of that. And my yams are climbing it this year, along with a couple things I don't want. Yeah, my key lime, or no, that's my ponderosa lemon. It's got a reasonable amount of fruit on it. My key lime's over there. I've already got my key lime harvest way back in that corner, which I can't seem to light up well with this light right now, is a set of bananas that I think there's bananas on. But I just can't see them from my yard, so I'm going to have to walk around. That is an avocado from seed. It has not produced yet. So I'm hoping it does that. It'll get big and be a main shade tree for over here. This whole area will end up being shaded out by these 2 trees, which will make this area where you can actually work back here. That is my tropical almond. And that's the tropical almond bloom. Isn't that weird? I don't know if these are going to be self-fertile or if I need to import myself another one. But this tree isn't that old and it's good size, so I have concerns that it might end up being significantly bigger than advertised. Right up in there's where I pulled the pineapple out the other day. Nice pineapple. I need to trim that Mexican sunflower and that Mexican sunflower over there. Something terrible. It's that time of year. Time to get in there, chop and drop it. So I guess I'll probably set up a live, maybe on TikTok, as I'm doing a chop and drop. My poor peach tree. It's looking so much better though. This poor thing has been knocked over repeatedly by hurricanes. See, it's got its own stilt. And there's other things I'm going to have to take out. My papaya appears to be done. So I need to get my chainsaw out here and cut my papaya. They're a short-lived perennial. And it's dropped all its leaves. So now if I cut it off down here, there's a chance it might spring back up. This is a plum tree, a European plum tree. And it's taking its sweet time to get going. But it's growing good finally. Of course, it's also right next to a chicken coop. Yeah. And there's my number one problem. Constantly every night. That was a Florida roof rat. They're kind of like, they're a rat, but they're kind of like halfway between being a rat and a squirrel. Because they spend all their time in the trees, running along fences, running along roofs. You see very little of them being actually on the ground. I think I'm going to close up the chickens completely tonight. Just because it keeps the rats out. I don't want the rats in there with them. I can smell something out here blooming, but I don't know what I'm smelling. Last year when I did this and I wandered around, I found out that it was a one of my what are those African yams that was blooming, that was putting out a smell similar to this, but I don't see it blooming. Something is blooming. Now I know that one drop almond, but I don't think that's what I'm smelling. Something is blooming though. It might be my jasmine, but I can't really see my jasmine right now. Oh, not sure how well I can light that up. See if I can change settings on this to its brightest setting. There we go. Bright setting. That thing has gotten so much bigger. It's not even funny. It's kind of nice because now I've got that up underneath there, and the way I have it set up in this design is that from the house you won't be able to see the tables because I got those planted there. However, they do die in the winter. Old truck. Still got to get rid of the old truck. Been working on that. Got rid of the old bougainvillea that was blocking me. Maybe this fall I'll be able to finish up some of that over there and get that old truck out because I'd really like to put a shade house over there. Oh, look at that. Ripe mulberry. I love yard snacks. Mm, that was really good. That was really ripe. That was a surprise. I'll have to tell the kids there's ripe mulberries out here. I really don't plan on staying on all that long. I'm just kind of looking around and seeing what I see. Now, this bush right here, a lot of times, is the most active bush in the yard at night. It'll just be covered in pollinators. And there's pollinators, but not like it normally is. It's not really blooming heavy. It does have some blooms. If you come out here when this thing's blooming heavy, there'll literally be thousands and thousands of nighttime pollinators. They'll just be everywhere. And the other night when I was out here, there was an owl hanging out back here. Oh, look. I've got ripe fruit right there. I'll have to get some more right there. Fantastic. This is the Peruvian apple cactus. Funny enough, it's not from Peru, and those are not apples. It's actually from the American Southwest. It puts out a huge dinner plate sized flower every spring and every summer. And it's got a few buds up there. I get 2 crops off of it. The fruit is very similar to dragon fruit. So there's one right there, one right there, a couple right there, and one up there. My kids love them. You add just a little bit of sugar to them because they don't really have much sweetness. But if you add just a little bit of sugar to them, then they taste pretty good. The ever-present God of weed. It's a lot better this year. Thanks to a friend who gave me a large amount of plastic so I can solarize some areas. And having a proper working mower this summer, not the best mower in the world, it's made up of the parts of 3 mowers, but it mows. Solarizing here, and it's doing a very good job. This is my old vegetable bed. This one here. This was the second one I put in. The first one got contaminated with Roundup or Grayson or something along those lines, and some bad manure I got. But this is actually a hugel, above or below grade hugel bed. No, I'm planning on planting 15 or 20 tomatoes in here. We'll see what I can pull off. There's some satsumas. And I've got Ponderosa lemons. Those will be ready right around Christmas. Right when you need the vitamin C, nature gives me the vitamin C. I did lose a tree. This thing has leafed out several times during the spring and summer and then dropped all its leaves. I'm not really sure why. It's not dead, but it's not good either. It should be full of leaves. So that's not really a good thing. If it doesn't make it, I'll probably replace it with a peach tree. I really, really enjoy my peaches. And the Florida Prince I got now is more like a standard peach. It's that orangey flesh, red blush on the outside. I would like to put in a Tropic Snow. It's a white flesh peach of about the same chill hours as the Florida Prince. It'll do well here. Actually, I think its chill hours are a little bit lower because the chill hours on the Florida Prince they say is 150, and I think the chill hours on the Tropic Snow is 100 or less. And I can tell you from experience with the Florida Prince, it doesn't really seem to care about the chill hours. I've had years where it's been warm enough where we really didn't get any chill hours and it still bloomed. It's not uncommon for it to start blooming in October. See, it gets so hot most years that it will go into dormancy of its own accord just because of how hot it is. It won't drop its leaves, but it stops growing and it'll end up most years just looking like it's been wrecked. And that's because it went into summer dormancy. And then, sometime in October, late September, it'll start blooming. Just little blooms, not a heavy bloom. And sometimes it sets fruit. Sometimes that fruit will set on the fruit all winter. And when that happens, I end up with really, really early fruit. So that's my garden at night. Not the best thing in the world or anything like that, but I like to come out here and walk at night, look things over. It allows me to be able to find what type of bugs are out here, rodents, what's going on in my garden at night. Like tonight, earlier while I was out here, I found one of my chickens had escaped and I had to put her away. Wouldn't have known that if I didn't go outside and check it out. Hey, Brenda, nice to see you. Hi, Passions for Green. Hey, Higgs. It doesn't always show me what's going on at the bottom when I'm doing this on my phone, so if I missed you when you come in, I catch you now. I'm not really the greatest at doing these live streams, but it is something I wanted to do. I wanted to walk around and see what I would find out here at night. And it's a practice I've done for a long time, like a really long time. Nice little pro gardening tip is the light that I got, which I know it's like really bright and you probably ain't seeing it that well. It's a rechargeable. They make them in black lights and they make them in ultraviolet lights. If you get the black light or the ultraviolet light and you go out in your garden at night, especially if you're a tomato gardener, you'll be able to find your hornworms. They bioluminesce and it will light them up like there's no tomorrow. I had one for a good while. Unfortunately, it did eventually die. And I'm going to get another one. I'll probably get one in a flashlight form because the floodlight's probably a little too much. But I originally got it for fishing, to light up my fishing poles, my white fishing poles. And I found I didn't really like it for fishing. I preferred the white floodlights. That way I don't, trip and die in the dark. But I found it very useful to take out in the garden and help me find various different worms because they're just not, the hornworms aren't the only ones that light up like that. Cutworms, they'll light up like that too. I do want to go check on one thing before I call it a night because I've been watching it do its thing. I'm gonna flip that back around if it'll let me. There we go. It does not like to let me do that. Oh, I have one of them spooky garden friends. That's a good friend. Takes care of pests. She has been out here weaving this thing for about an hour, I guess. She's just now getting to the center. Now, last night I bugged her quite a bit, coming out and filming her and stuff, and she didn't like me lighting her up. But with her working on her web tonight, he has been so engrossed on working on its web that it has not cared one bit that I'm here. Well, have fun. Well, everyone, I'm going to call it a night. I'll try to do these more often. Half an hour to an hour live streams, and uh, it is coming up on actual. So here soon, I'm going to have to start preparing for my fall planting. It is what it is, but because of the heat, I tend to do a lot of it at night. Running mulch, preparing beds, weeding, things like that. Because it's, high 70s, low 80s at night versus 100 during the day, or near 100. So if it ain't raining, maybe I can set up my camera. Maybe not. We'll see how it works. Everyone, you have a good night.